Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, hello there, welcome. My name is Charlize, but you guys can also call me Charlie, whatever is a-okay for you. So in today's video, as you can probably tell by the title, today I'm doing a January 2023 reading recap, wrap up. So in the month of January, I read a total of 6.5 books. Well, I'm gonna say 7 because technically let me show you the books I read and my thoughts on them. So without further ado, let's get on with these books. Okay, so I have my phone for Goodreads so I can see what I rated the book and when I finish these all. So yeah. The first book I read in the month was the second book to the Last Hours series. If you have not heard of this dystopian series, it is so freaking good. You're gonna love it. So basically, this is a book, and this is the children's POV. Their parents actually have their own series. It's called the Infernal Device series. So just a little heads up before reading this series, if you want a little more information, it's not necessary, but go read the Infernal Devices series. At the time, I didn't even know the Infernal Devices series, like what it was. I just read this series and by itself it's so good, but with the Infernal Devices I bet it's even better. So this month I reread this. This is actually my second time reading it, and She's Not a Thin Book. The first time I read this was actually exactly a year ago, and it took me over a month and a half to read. I read this book in a week. And I tried to do a little like readathon thing, and this book took me 15 hours to read and I stayed up really late all night. But this book is so worth it. There are so many plot twists. There is a subplot of romance, but it's actually a major part of the book. But it's really freaking good. This series so far in this book will always get a 5 stars for me. And fun fact, the third book is coming out literally, I can't even say it. It's literally coming out Tuesday. It's a Saturday. I am pumped. I am pumped. If you're a new reader, I know this might seem like a lot of reading for you, but this is a great series. The writing is not very like complex or like hard. It's hard to understand. It's very like straightforward. Like it's super simple to, you know, grasp. So for a new reader, this is perfect. I read this as like one of my third books, like when I started reading, and holy crap, I was invested in this series. The romance is amazing. The characters are amazing. 5 stars. I also want to mention, this is not just like a romance book. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of action. The characters are my favorite part, and that's one thing people love about this book are the characters. There's also a lot of culture demonstrated in this book. If you're Persian, this book is literally perfect because they mention a lot of Persian meals and Persian culture. The first book is called Chain of Gold. In case you're wondering, this is Chain of Iron. The third one's called Chain of Thorns, and this series is by Cassandra Clare, by the way. The next book I read was a nice little romance book, A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. It's a TikTok favorite, and it was very easy to read. I read this in 2 days. The writing is huge. People underestimate the size. Oh. So this is like a huge book. I don't know if you can see it compared to my face, but it's huge. Huge. This kind of gave me like Wattpad story vibes, like cringy kind of book style. I gave this a 4 stars at the time. Now thinking about it a little more, it was okay. I would never recommend this to someone because, I don't know, it was fine. It was a nice read overall, but I just think like, yeah, it was just okay for me. Like I said, a little bit on the cringier side, nickname, pet name, a little bit of like a pet name vibe. I wasn't super into the art gallery thing. Like, it was cute what ended up happening with the art gallery thing, but the whole point, like the book is named after an art piece, A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. I don't know, I just find art very boring for me. Like an art museum, it's, you know, it's okay, and like, it was good. I'm thinking of moments where this book was good, but it was also like bad at the same time, which is why at the time I gave this 4 stars, but I think now I would give it like a 3, because there was nothing special about this. I have a lot better romances to recommend. So if you're thinking about buying this, don't. I have a lot of other romance recommendations. Yeah, save it and skip it and buy The Love Hypothesis instead. That one was so good. I got the ick a lot in this book. Like, I got the major ick in a lot of scenes in this book. Like, the beginning was so cute, no ick. The middle, like, there's just one scene where she finds them doing like drugs, and that whole scene was just the biggest ick ever. So don't recommend that book. So this next book, if you watched my last video, you will know that I was actually in the midst of reading it, and I had mentioned how, like, I love it, it's so innocent, yada yada yada, like, it was a really good book. This only got better. This one just impacted me so much. So this is The Grace Year by Kim Liggett, and it is a story about women and men in a county. Like, basically, men owned women, and it was horrible. Like, women had no freedom of speech, yada yada yada. So essentially what they had done is, when women turned 16, men believed that women got some sort of power to be able to seduce men to do things that they don't want to, and what they, like, crazy things, and they would send these women off into the woods for a year straight to rid of their magic. But the only thing is, you cannot talk about the Grace Year. It's forbidden. If you talk about this Grace Year, like, you will be sent to the gallows, death. So the main character, Tierney James, we learn about her story about the Grace Year and all about it, and it's so good. The next 4 books are a part of a series, and if you saw my last video, this was also a part of my video, and at the time I only had the first 2 books. I went out and bought the last 3 before even reading the first one. I'm gonna rate each book individually and then together so far. The first book is Red Queen. By the way, the series is by Victoria Aveyard, and these books, it's about this girl, her name is Mare Barrow, and her family, they live in the stilts. They're poor because they are red-blooded. People with red blood are considered nothing, and they are oppressed, whilst silvers are godly, and they are royalty, and they have powers. And we learn about this girl's life and how she gets to evolve. So Mare accidentally discovers she has her own power, and this takes a toll on the book, and it was really good. The romance in here was really good. The beginning of it was really interesting. I got to a point though that in the middle it was really book slump-ish-y, like when if you've read it, I got to a point where her and Maven were just like doing nothing, getting ready to leave. So Red Queen, I gave a 4 stars, but I think I wanted to give it a 3.5. It was good, but you know, beginning of the books, they're always meh. The next one, Glass Sword, I gave a 4.5. Oh my god, King's Cage. This one, what did I give this one? A 3.5. The beginning of this book was very book slumpy because the first 200 pages. I kid you not. No, it was 300 actually. She is stuck with Maven, and this is 200. I'm talking 3. The Scarlet Guard only comes to get her. This much of the book she's with Maiden. This much. And it is so boring. She just talks about how she's sitting in the room and how she's reading Julian's books. And we do find out though that silvers used to be the ones who were nothing and reds were on top. And she's like, ha, I wish I was in that world or something like that. We get some Iris introduction in this one. This part of the book was my favorite but the Cal and Mare like running in the morning where they're all giddy, where Cal is giddy, where he's protective. Yes, I was living for it. Okay, so the last book is Warstorm, and she is thick. She is 650 pages, and everyone on TikTok said they hated it. I'm midway through, and this might be one of my favorite books. It's not, but like it's really good. So I don't know why they hate it so much. I think future me is gonna be like, oh honey, oh honey, stuff happens. And I know stuff happens because this is the last book, and I heard it has a terrible ending. It just makes me want to read it so much. So these are all the books I have read this month. I am proud of myself. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know how many books you read this year, and if you've read any of these books, please give me your opinion in the comments. That would mean like a lot to me. And I hope you guys enjoy. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.